My name is Jade, and I'm a junior biology major, and I am reading from Walla Walla, actually, where Whitman is. And today we'll be reading The Tale of Tom Kitten. And I chose this book because this is something that I grew up with, and it's a continuation of The Tale of Peter Rabbit. So let's get started. By Beatrix Potter. Look at those kittens. Once upon a time, there were 3 little kittens, and their names were Mittens, Tom Kitten, and Moppet. They had dear little fur coats of their own, and they tumbled about the doorstep and played in the dust. But one day their mother, Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit, expected friends to tea, so she fetched the kittens indoors to wash them and dress them before the fine company arrived. There she is, while she's holding one of the cats. First, she scrubbed their faces. This one is Moppet. Then she brushed their fur. This one is Mittens. Then she combed their tails and whiskers. And this last guy is Tom Kitten. Tom was very naughty, and he scratched. Mrs. Tabitha dressed Moppet and Mittens in clean pinafores and tuckers, and then she took all sorts of elegant, uncomfortable clothes out of a chest of drawers in order to dress up her son, Thomas, the naughty one. There she is with the clothes. He does not want to get dressed in those fancy clothes. Tom Kitten was very fat, and he had grown. Several buttons had burst off. His mother sewed him on again. When the 3 kittens were ready, Mrs. Tabitha unwisely turned them out into the garden, to be out of the way while she made hot buttered toast. Now, keep your frocks clean, children. You must walk on your hind legs. Keep away from the dirty ash pit and from Sally Henny Penny, and the pigsty, and the puddle ducks. Wow. There she is, letting them go into the garden with their fancy, uncomfortable clothes. Moppet and Mittens walked down the garden path unsteadily. Presently they trod upon their pinafores and fell on their noses. When they stood up, there were several green smears. "Let us climb up on the rockery, and sit on the garden wall," said Moppet. They turned their pinafores back to front, and went up with a skip and a jump. Moppet's white tucker fell down into the road. Oh no! Tom Kitten was quite unable to jump when walking upon his hind legs and trousers. He came up the rockery by degrees, breaking the ferns, shedding buttons right and left. Here he is with those buttons poppin'. He was all in pieces when he reached the top of the wall. Moppet and Mittens tried to pull him together. His hat fell off and the rest of his buttons burst. Here he is without his fancy clothes. While they were in difficulties, there was a pit-pat-paddle-pat, and the 3 puddle ducks came along the hard high road, marching one behind the other and doing the goose step. Pit-pat-paddle-pat, pit-pat-waddle-pat. They stopped and stood in a row and stared up at the kittens. They had very small eyes and looked surprised. And these are the ducks that Mother warned them about. There they are, surprised. Small eyes. They're wearing fancy clothes too. And they're Toms. Then the 2 duck birds, Rebecca and Jemima Puddle Duck, picked up the hat and tucker and put them on. Mittens laughed so hard that she fell off the wall. Moppet and Tom descended after her. The pinafores and all the rest of Tom's clothes came off on the way down. "Come, Mr. Drake Puddle Duck," said Moppet. "Come and help us to dress him. Come and button up Tom." And there he is without his clothes. Mr. Drake Puddle Duck advanced in a slow, sideways manner and picked up the various articles. But he put them on himself. They fit him even worse than Tom Kitten. "It's a very fine morning," said Mr. Drake Puddle Duck. Can you imagine a cat's clothes on a duck? I don't think I can. There they go in the clothes, and he and Jemima and Rebecca Puddle Duck set off up the road, keeping step, pit pat paddle pat, pit pat waddle pat. Then Tabitha Twitchit came down the garden and found her kittens on the wall with no clothes on. She is mad. She looks like they're gonna be in trouble. She pulled them off the wall, smacked them, and took them back to the house. "My friends will arrive in a minute, and you are not fit to be seen. I am affronted," said Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit. She sent them upstairs, and I am sorry to say she told her friends that they were in bed with the measles, which was not true. And here are the friends. She can't be seen with them, so she banishes them to the bedroom, where they cause more trouble. Quite the contrary, they were not in bed, not in the least. Somehow there were very extraordinary noises overhead, which disturbed the dignity and the repose of the tea party. And I think that some day I shall have to make another larger book to tell you more about Tom Kitten, the troublemaker. As for the Puddle Ducks, they went into a pond. The clothes all came off directly, because there were no buttons. Here they are, taking the clothes off as well. And Mr. Drake Puddle Duck and Jemima and Rebecca have been looking for them ever since. The end. Thank you for listening.